Hey, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to talk about 2024. So essentially I'm just going to kind of talk about how this channel has been, kind of, how I felt about the movies and TV shows I watched, because I did talk about every single movie I watched in theaters, but there's plenty of other movies that I did watch last year and I haven't talked about yet. So I'm going to have like a couple highlights of that and just talk about the channel in general. And then I also wanted to mention, so something I did in 2023 is, as everyone knows, Apple Music, Spotify, they do the Wrapped. So, obviously it takes the data that it has and it shows you how much music you listen to. Well, at the end of 2022, I was like, you know what? I would be very curious to see just how much YouTube, movies, and TV shows I would watch in a single year. So that's what I did in 2023. And it was very interesting to see. I will say, it is something that it's like sometimes you'll stick with something a little bit longer if you're logging something. And of course you don't know just how long a movie is if you're at the theater. So sometimes the time wasn't totally on the accurate mark. But obviously that's like, a couple minutes disparity, which isn't much of a difference. So just to share, so the number is pretty high, and just to put it in perspective, the amount of music I listened to according to Spotify Wrapped in 2023 was about 38,000 minutes. So, and in general, more of what my time is spent on is the YouTube, movies, and TV shows. So, first perspective on that one. So I listened to 1,211 hours, 46 minutes, and 11 seconds, which is the equivalent to 50 days and 11 hours. Now in terms of the minutes, 72,706 minutes. So as you can see, it was certainly a lot. And of course, obviously, Spotify takes it, sometime in November they stop. But all in all, it was pretty interesting in 2023 to do that, to log everything. In a way, it was fun to do, but I do think it didn't do me any favors in 2024. And what I mean by that is I was essentially burned out. Like, I enjoyed what I watched in 2023, but the logging and spending all that time and so much of calculating in your brain, it's just like, Like I always use this calculator thing, so I'd have to log every single day and everything. Then I had, at the end of the month, I'd log every single day, and of course once the year ended, it was 12 months and everything, logged that all together. Eventually it did get a little tiresome, a little whatever, and I think with how much I watched in 2023, I could not get into anything for the longest time. I watched plenty at the start of 2024. I still watched plenty, but I pretty much abandoned stuff pretty quickly. If it's a TV show, yeah, maybe I stuck with it for an episode, but I just couldn't get into anything. Most of YouTube I was not watching at all. So I did in full watch every movie that I logged, but for the most part, it was just for so many months of 2024, at the start of 2024, I just couldn't get into anything. I was just not having it, not really interested in anything. And it's a good thing I didn't log the amount of time I was watching things, because I'm sure it would have been technically in terms of the number, it's higher than any other year since I've been logging since 2021. But for the most part, it is. It's just was not a good year. And Spotify Wrapped for this past year, the least amount of music I've listened to ever was 18,000, which is unheard of for me. I usually listen to plenty of music, and I do know in general I was not getting into music, getting into movies, YouTube, none of it. It just was not really working out. Later in the year, maybe somewhere around halfway through the year, things seem to be a little bit more normal. But in general, 2024 sucked in many ways, of course. But for, in particular, what I'm talking about, it was interesting. But I still found some gems, which was good. I would say, of course, we know the strike happened in 2023, so there were plenty of movies that either got pushed back past 2024 or the movies that did come out, you know, they were just less. And of course, we have so many just reboots, sequels, remakes, all that sort of things. Like, oh, you know, like I probably have this many movies I actually enjoyed that I watched in 2024. And I'm referring to the ones I saw in theaters because there were movies that I enjoyed, TV shows that I enjoyed this past year. But I will say, I thought it was interesting because, you know, I did plenty of data collection and everything for this video. And it was interesting to see just how many rewatches I actually did this year. It makes a lot of sense because I didn't really branch out into new territory for the most part. But I don't know, it was just kind of a crazy year. So I ended up watching 232 movies and TV shows. And so 80 were new to me in 2024. So that includes things I saw in theaters and just in general things that I've never seen before. And then 152 were previously watched movies and TV shows. I don't know, like just in general, it was interesting to rewatch movies I haven't seen in a long, long time. But for the most part, I'm just kind of, you know, I don't know. 2024 was a hard year. Like, if I could erase 2024 for all that happened to me and of course happened to the world, I would do it. But one thing that was really good for me this year was this channel. So, you know, very appreciative, grateful for everything, you guys engaging with my content and everything. And I was really proud of myself that I actually did every single movie I watched in theaters. I did a video of it. I did a review. So that was, of course, very exciting. A couple were sketches or things that aren't related to movies that were out in theaters. But for the most part, just really nice to, like, every single month was a new video and everything. So that was very cool. Okay, so in terms of the movies that I did watch that were new to me, there were just a few that I wanted to highlight. So first up is Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. I just had no interest in this movie for the longest time. It kinda, just the animation style, and of course, Puss in Boots, the first one that came out in 2011, was so terrible. So it's like, why would I want to watch this? So, but it was great. Like, so many people had hyped it up, and for some reason, I decided to give it a try in January 2024, and I'm really glad I did. It was so good. Like, I really did not expect just how good it was. I mean, like, that was, like, pure gold. I, of course, am very excited about Shrek 5. You know, it was really cool at the end there where it kind of teased, you know, that Puss in Boots was coming to see Shrek and everything, and so I look forward to that. But in general, very, very nice to watch. Like, I had no idea just how good this movie was. Next movie was Shutter Island. I had watched The Wolf of Wall Street for the first time last year. So, you know, Martin Scorsese, Leonardo DiCaprio, you know, the typical, you know. But it was an interesting movie. Some parts were a little creepy, you know, definitely creepy, but I was pretty impressed with the movie from what I can recall. I definitely think I enjoyed it for the most part. I'm not a fan of more the open ending because I'd say it's more pretty point blank period how it is, but really it can be interpreted differently, and I don't know, it grinds my gears when it's an open ending, so I'm kind of like whatever. But it was a good movie, so that was nice to see. So there's just a few that are rewatches. So something very cool that I did this past year was I rewatched the Land Before Time movies. Now, not all of them. I had to rely on my library to, you know, borrow a few of them. But it was really fun. So I watched the first 3 and then the 8th movie. The movies are so good. And what I do find interesting, I actually have never watched in terms of like my real deal childhood, I never watched the first one. We just had the DVDs for a number of them, but not the first one. So I thought that was interesting. You know, so it's just never gonna have that same attachment. Like, I'm kind of whatever with the first one, but for the most part, all the other ones, just love them, love them. So it's very fun to watch, because I haven't watched these movies back in, I don't know, maybe over 10 years. So that was really cool. You know, definitely enjoyed that. And now, a very cool thing is, for Christmas, I now have the Land Before Time DVD collections, so I cannot wait to watch the rest of them. I have been chomping at the bit to watch the fourth movie, The Land Before Time, Journey Through the Mist. I love that one so much, and I could not find it, like, at all. So I'm, like, so glad that I am going to be able to watch it again. Next up, I watched Fitting In. Now, this is something, a condition I had never heard about. You know, it was interesting, but here's the thing that ended up really sticking in my mind with the movie and after the movie, this condition, okay? You don't deal with a period, and you can't have kids. If you don't want to deal with it, and, okay, you can't be physically intimate, and you can't have kids. If you don't want to do those things, what's the harm if you have this condition? Like, not in any sort of insensitive way. I'm just saying, for someone who doesn't want to do those things, I don't see what would be the big deal. At least according to the movie. Like, it didn't say anything about actual harmful things to the body. Like, it didn't say anything. You know, you don't have a uterus, that's it, you know? So, I don't know, it was hard for me to be like, you know, because, like, you have to dilate to make anything happen. It was just weird. I don't know. And of course it was also weird. It's a rated R movie, and certain things that are going on in the movie, it's like, this is about teenagers. Why is this happening? I don't know. It was kind of interesting. I'm definitely glad I didn't see it in theaters. I'm glad I just was able to borrow it from the library, but I'm like, I don't know. It was certainly something. Next movie is Falling Down. Now, my parents had definitely talked about this movie plenty of times, so I was looking forward to seeing this. Like, I had seen the fast food restaurant scene so many times, so I was ready to get into this movie, enjoy this movie, have plenty of laughs, have plenty of fun with this movie. Dude, this movie was insane. Michael Douglas, his character is crazy. Like, he is terrible. And it was so interesting to me. Okay, he sucks. Like, he's an absolutely terrible, awful guy. So, what are they gonna do to make him slightly sympathetic? Another character's a Nazi! Like, dude, what is happening? Like, that movie was crazy. I mean, it does end well. You know, what happens at the ending was definitely what should happen, so that was good at least, but I was like, oh my gosh, dude, this thing is, like, more dark than I expected it was going to be. It was not something I enjoyed. I was like, oh no. Next up, I watched Maxton Hall. Now, this is an Amazon original series, and it's based off these German books. Unfortunately, we still do not have an English translation because I would be reading these. But the show was so good. I could definitely watch it again. You know, that first season was so good. A new season is coming. I cannot wait to watch it. It was so good. Like, I will say it was kind of hard to get into at the start. It was a little like, meh. But then, as it continued, the show is so good. And I'm definitely glad, like, there are parts of me that doesn't exactly like the culmination, the way that culture is now just social media. But that is how I discovered the show, decided to check out the show because of that. So, you know, I'm not gonna, like, totally be like, social media, But yeah, it was a really good show. If you want a very sweet and, you know, really good, angst-filled drama, romance, oh, it's just so good. Next up, I watched Bridgerton for the first time. I watched season 3. Now I heard, this is more after the fact, after I'd watched it, I heard plenty of people were saying, no, season 1 and season 2 are the really good ones. Season 3 totally botched it. It was really bad. So I understand that, but it's not a show that really appeals to me. You know, like, I just kept hearing about it. People were talking about it. I decided to give it a try. It's not really the show for me at all. It just, And of course, it's crazy to me that it's like, they're able to have it where, oh, you know, this certain prejudice and bias doesn't exist in this, you know, from the past society, but this other thing still exists. And it's like, really? You know, like, I understand they're doing things how they want to do it, but it's like, I don't know. It was kind of interesting, the music, you know, having modern music played more classical. Yeah, it was interesting to check out, but just not something that really worked for me in any capacity. Now, this is something I don't think I was ever going to watch, but, you know, I was super disappointed in Inside Out 2. Like, the night after I watched Inside Out 2 back in June, I was just so bummed out, disappointed in the movie. I did not like it at all. And I kept being like, oh, F1's gonna tear me apart when I give my review. People liked my review. I don't know why I was so hard on myself. But either way, so, you know, I was just chilling. And then I saw that Netflix had 50 Shades of Grey. And I was like, for the jokes, for the shits and giggles. And yeah, so I decided to give it a try. And I actually enjoyed the first one. Maybe, ironically, like, just in general, it was actually pretty enjoyable. You know, if you don't look at it as a romance, if you don't look at it in how the author and then the filmmakers are trying to portray it, it's fun. It's pretty good. But then Netflix had the other two a month later. In July, I watched the other two. Then it took itself too seriously, and it's just, especially that end part where it's like, oh yeah, she's still gonna deal with it. She's still gonna deal with going in the room and everything's like, really? Come on. But for the most part, I enjoyed that first movie. It was pretty good. Yeah. Next movie I'm going to talk about is Ready or Not. This was wild. This was a crazy movie. I don't know. Like, I don't think, because I'm just not really the horror movie, scary movie watcher. I don't think, for the most part, scary movies just aren't gonna work for me the way it does for horror movie fans, you know? But I definitely got into the movie. I definitely was super happy, pumping my fist, saying, yeah, let's get him! Like, it was very cool at the end there where they got what was coming to them. They got justice. And it was like, yes! Like, so, it was definitely interesting. I don't know that I'd watch the sequel whenever that movie comes out, but it was kind of interesting to check out. Next up was a rewatch, and that was Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. And, oh, this is so fun to watch again. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs is definitely something from my childhood that I hold so dear. And, actually, you know that part at the very beginning when they have, like, the little credits and they have the text and everything, and it's, like, a movie made by a lot of people? I always loved that little thing there because it's just so cutesy and funny. And so my first ever video, not on this channel, not on YouTube, like my first ever video I ever made in class in high school in like 2015, I had done. So it's like, basically it was like one of those like more photo collage videos. And every single video we would have to create little credits. And so this one was like, it had a starring thing as like the standard format. So I just said starring a lot of people. And of course I was referring to that because I just love this movie so much. It's just so fun. And really, maybe I watched it last year, as in 2023. It's still weird to get into the 2025 groove because it's like, what? You know, it feels like we're living in the future. But either way, it did feel like so long since I watched this movie, but also not. Like, it was just really nice to watch again. Next up, I watched a new release, and that show is High Potential. Now, this show is basically about this woman. She has this condition, high potential something high potential. And so basically she has this really high IQ, and she's able to observe things, catch things normal people can't really, detect or anything. But of course she has other problems that go along with it. And so basically she becomes a consultant for the cops, and she has this partner, and it's just a really fun show. It has like the vibes of Monk, and it has the vibes of Psych and everything. It's just a really good, fun show. And for the longest time, I've been chomping at the bit for a new episode because it had 7 episodes, and then sometime around November it stopped, and I'm like, what's happening? Like, where's a new episode? And I was so happy the other day I found out they had the new episode come out. So I'm so excited, and I will say some episodes are not winners, but I am enjoying this show. I really like it. And of course, it's always nice to have weekly release, have something to watch with your family and everything. So I definitely recommend this show. It's really fun. It's really good. And lastly, a new to me movie is The Godfather. Wow! I have heard, they have that stereotype. They have the little joke. They have it in You've Got Mail and everything. Like, there's that joke where they talk about, they of course referenced it in Barbie, but obviously Barbie, they took from jokes that already existed. But the whole thing of, oh yeah, guys just talk about The Godfather. They're like, won't shut up about The Godfather. And it's like, how great can it be? And of course, it's a over 50-year-old movie, like really? But wow, dude, I had no idea. I really thought it was going to be, because I did try to watch The Sopranos earlier this year, and it did not work for me. Like, I didn't even get through a single episode. I was just not really interested in not having it. But I was captivated, dude. I was so into this movie. And like, so many twists and turns, and you wanted justice, you wanted the bloodshed, you just wanted, like, wow, this movie was just so good. And I really thought, with how long the movie was, about 3 hours long, I'm like, I don't know, this might be a little too much. But no, I was captivated. I was totally into it. And I'm not going to act like I'm some expert for acting, but Al Pacino was gold. He was so good. Like, the transition from his character at the start of the movie to the end of the movie, it's like, whoa! But in general, this movie was so great, and I cannot wait to watch The Godfather Part II. But now I'm like, now I see why all these guys would not shut up about The Godfather. It's so good! And of course it was interesting because, like I mentioned, You've Got Mail. They reference certain lines from the movie. Of course, some things I have heard in pop culture, but this one in particular, like the thing about the days of the week, I had no idea this girl talked about it, that sort of thing. But wow! And yeah, I just really, really enjoyed that movie. That was so good. Definitely a 10 out of 10 movie. Super, super impressive. I was like, wow! Especially, too, a movie I watched maybe around the start of 2018 was Goodfellas. Now, my dad has watched The Godfather and Goodfellas, and Goodfellas is his favorite. He loves that movie. It's like his favorite movie. He's watched it so many times, and Godfather just didn't really work for him at the time, sometime around the 90s or 2000. But no, we were both totally into the movie. We watched it together, and yeah, it's great. It is so good. And it was just so funny, too. Francis Ford Coppola, okay, you're good. You're good at making movies. Except, of course, with what happened this past year with Megalopolis. It's like, what are you doing, guy? Please. It is wild how someone could be such a good filmmaker, and then they put out that. But either way, really, really impressive movie. And I watched it, like, at the very end of this past year, like, sometime in December. So it's like, man, I almost missed gold here. I'm so glad I watched it. So also, just to share, like I said, technically, I watched the most in terms of the actual quantity compared to the past 4 years. So 2021 was about 205. 2022 was 180, 2023 181, and like I said, 232 movies and TV shows this past year. So it was definitely interesting, but I do know the years before 2024, I watched plenty of TV, and this past year, I really, really didn't. So I know for certain that I just did not watch that much in comparison. At least the amount of time I spent. If anything, it was more on social media and other things, or staring into space, blah, 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 you know? It's just, this past year was a dud, man. It was hard. Next up, I want to share about, my channel in general. It was really cool to see just how much change happened in a single year. So, in total, overall views was 19,287 before the start of 2024. And it is now at 33,491 views. And when I say now, I'm referring to December 31st of 2024, not present. Just from this past year with 2024, 14,204 views were added from this year. So super, super grateful, that you guys decided to watch my videos and everything. I am so grateful. And next up was watch time hours. So it was 191 before 2024, 334 watch time hours now, and it was 143 watch time hours added this year. And in terms of subscribers, it was 83 subscribers before 2024, 162 subscribers now, and 78 subscribers added this year. So super, super happy. It was almost double. Very exciting. So again, a super duper big thank you for all the love for this channel this past year. I really, really appreciate it, and I cannot wait to get into 2025. So I definitely have a number of plans for this year. Of course, I'm going to go to the theater, review every movie I see in the theater, and, maybe I'll try to experiment, do some other videos. Something that I did previously is I would wrap up everything I watched monthly. If you guys have any interest in that, now that I've gotten more of a different audience than when I did, because that was when I was a very tiny channel. I'm still a small channel, but I'm talking tiny, tiny. So if you guys have any interest in monthly wrap-ups, please do let me know in the comments down below, because I do enjoy those videos, and I think it's interesting to kind of really see in real time how I've been feeling about, new to me movies and shows and everything like that, or rewatches. Those are always fun. I'm super, super grateful for the Knight Rider short. You guys have given it so much love. You gave it more than double the amount of love from 2023. It was over 10,000 views just from 2024. So I cannot believe it. It's so, so grateful. And it is so close to 20,000 views. So I've had this one video in the works since sometime in 2023. I came up with the concept, and I've been procrastinating, which is always the worst, because it's you want to do something that it's an idea you like, and then of course you want to do something super nice for people who've been supporting something you created. So it's a video, it's coming. So once it hits 20,000, I cannot wait to post a video, so it's definitely Knight Rider related, it's definitely car related, so please stay tuned. It is coming super soon. And I've got a couple other videos up my sleeve. I cannot wait to post them. Another really nice thing in 2024 for this channel is this new layout. If you have watched my channel before, sometime around April of 2024, I had a different layout. I did not have, okay, you can't see it, I'll post a picture, but this little cinema now showing sign is this thing that I now have. I used to have this dock and the ocean and everything, like a little beachfront canvas thing for my backgrounds, which was nice, and my bed was here. And now I have this cool desk. So that's, of course, very nice. And, it is so nice to have this layout instead. For the longest time, I had to use my two pillows to kind of, you know, sit on top of it and try to be somewhat in frame. But still, all this empty space was right above me, and you could barely see me. You would almost be like, just about this much. It's like, bro, come on. So it's really nice now. Plenty to see, you know, the whole shebang and everything. So that's really cool. But also, my legs don't hurt anymore. My back doesn't hurt anymore. I can chill like this. I can slide away. Anyway, I'm being super silly. I don't know why. You know, just really cool, you know, the things that I've gotten up to now. So all in all, super excited to get into 2025. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, comment below, and if you liked this video and would like to see more movie content, be sure to hit that subscribe button. See you guys next time. Bye!